Hi friends, this is Shar Meekins. Day 70 with a path of purpose. So tonight I'm going to do a little IDD discussion, intellectual developmental disabilities, because I want to introduce you to Dr. Craig Eskeday. Sometime I should have him just come on and visit with us. But I met Dr. Eskeday, probably my first DD&A, Developmental Disabilities Nurses Association conference. And we connected right away and have continued our relationship in building this community. And recently he started a podcast interviewing people and just looking at every aspect of the IDD and how that health matters. And I love that he started this. Today I caught one of their podcasts, and I'm always encouraged when I catch a podcast. This one wasn't live, of course, but it was recorded, and I'm always encouraged by the content and the people that he interviews. Well, one of the first things that I have utilized with that Dr. Eskeday created was through intellectability. And did I say that right? Because they changed their name shortly after I met them. So, yes, intellectability. And so one of the first things I started utilizing that he created was called clinical pearls in IDD healthcare. And so the reason he created this was so that clinicians and healthcare providers could utilize this resource to learn more of how to support and care for the health issues with the customers with developmental disabilities. And because the truth is, just like nursing, same is true for doctors when they went to school. The content for developmental disabilities was very limited. And so when you went into your clinicals and you were asked to care for somebody with developmental disabilities, you really felt like you were in the dark because you hadn't been taught anything. And so I love this clinical pearls. So I'm going to give you an example. Because I purchased this, and there was a season when I lived in Idaho that there was a family group homes. And part of the commitment to being a family group home is to maintain your education. And so I had the opportunity then to train several group homes in northern Idaho that had individuals living with them. A lot of them were foster homes or just families that their adult children still lived with them. And so what a great connection that was for me. But I'll give you an example here. Oh gosh, there's so much. So he created this notebook so that obviously you could take the pages out, and it is cardstock. So it's intended to be copied and send the copy with the individual to their doctor's appointments. So if this person is struggling in a particular area, here's one on dehydration. If they're struggling with dehydration, it discusses what does it look like with somebody with a disability. How can you see the signs of dehydration that maybe typically you wouldn't see in someone else? Because my experience with dehydration and individuals I support and care for is that they don't like drinking water, and they would rather just drink soda pop or coffee all day long. And so they really limit their fluid intake Or maybe it's someone that's nonverbal and so they don't ask for a drink, so they're dependent on staff utilizing and getting them a drink because maybe they're they can't ambulate independently. Maybe they're not someone that's just going to go to the refrigerator and grab a drink or go to the sink and get a drink of water. And so dehydration's a big issue when it comes to someone with a developmental disability. So it's something that staff have to be very aware of and what it looks like. Well, it's communicating also then to the doctors what it looks like, because maybe they always wouldn't recognize it. Here's another example. People with spasticity, what does that look like with somebody with cerebral palsy? And it just talks about treating the underlying spasticity can be of great help in preventing contractures and relieving pain. And so, too often we want to treat the symptom, right, instead of treating the cause of the symptom. And so this will give the doctors some ideas of what that might look like and how they can successfully treat them. Here's another one. Osteoporosis is really common with somebody with individual developmental disability. And when I first started, I had more than one client that they were born with severe scoliosis and osteoporosis later on in their lives. But when they were young, their treatment back then for severe scoliosis was to put a rod in your spine to straighten your spine. And I think of one particular lady, she really struggled, because here you've got a rod in your back, right? You can't even reposition and be comfortable because your back's only going to go one direction, the direction that the rod was put in. And so osteoporosis and spinal problems are also significant with somebody with an intellectual and developmental disability. So the list goes on and on. But what I love, in fact, how many pearls are in here? Does it tell us in front? No, it doesn't. So there are actually 54 pearls in here. And this notebook was an excellent purchase that I made that I've utilized for years and years. And I don't even know when he published it. Oh, he published it in 2019. Yeah, I think so. So that's been a great tool. And but now here he is. He's bumping up his ability. Not ability. He's been a DD physician for years and years. But broaden his scope of practice in the sense that reaching out and training a broader scope of people in the community. And so I just posted his podcast and his YouTube connection for the IDD Health Matters. So if you have someone in your life that has IDD and they need some extra pointers or direction or just keys on how to support a family member, someone that you are supporting in your employment, like myself, him and intellectability and the podcast are great resources. I so appreciated Dr. Escudé because he even put he even wrote me a testimony for my book built on the relationship that we had built and the foundation of his work that he's had. So he's an amazing doctor that you can connect with over those links. So don't grow discouraged, because the truth is It's better than it used to be, right? You would meet some old school doctors, and their opinion was that oftentimes, I'm not saying everybody, but their opinion oftentimes was that your child should be institutionalized because you don't have the ability to care for them. But now, 20 years, maybe 50, it's a long time, years later, society's opinion has gradually changed, and we're learning and growing in our ability to care for individuals with IDD. And the cool thing is their once short lifespan, 20s, 30s, has now bumped up to they will live as long as we, I hate to say we, because we all have our own disabilities, right? We all have our own issues with our own health. And so the cool thing is I've had people that I've supported that have lived into their 80s. And so their lives have not been, they've been greater, how do I say this? Because the healthcare has improved in so many ways, and their focus of quality of life has changed also. They don't see someone with a disability as not valued, because we're each valuable. We each have purpose. We just each have different abilities. Yeah, we just have each different abilities. So anyway, I see that a couple of people are on with me, but you guys, I'm so sad because with this particular link, I have not figured out who is on and who's not. Oh, let me look. Yeah, I just haven't figured it out. So sometimes if I'm on my phone, I can see your comments and I can see your reactions, but with this format on my computer, I need to go to someone and have them help me and figure out how to utilize this, because I don't know how. So I will learn. I'm learning. All right. So thanks for joining me. I just did want to just connect you with Dr. Escudé and what he has to offer you if you work or you have family members in the IDD community. All right. Have a great rest of the evening, and we'll talk tomorrow. Bye.